2018 Buick Regal TourX first drive review. Vertical bar, pop the champagne. It's another wagon. As a newborn member of an endangered species, we should probably pop open the dome to fete the arrival of the 2018 Buick Regal TourX. It's a wagon, after all, and if there's anything we automotive writers have been clamoring for is more wagons. And we are. The Regal TourX is a pretty good one that thankfully offers more than just its mere existence. It especially delivers on the space front, which is refreshing, since most of today's wagons are not as cargo friendly as the collective we would like to admit. An Audi Q5 regrettably does have more cargo space than an Audi A4 Allroad. Yet, the TourX has more than both, considerably more in fact, coming in at a certifiably huge 73.5 cubic feet of maximum space. The difference is palpable between it and the 53.5 cubic foot Allroad, which Buick considers the TourX's closest competitor. As the below video somewhat demonstrates, I was able to cram 12 Patagonia duffel bags into the Allroad, filling up most of the cabin. The same amount in the TourX left tons of residual space. You could still see out the back, and loading it all in didn't require a degree in Advanced Tetris. There's also a far more useful amount of space with the back seat raised, 32.7 versus 24.2. That area is especially lengthy, and with the large rear quarter windows and reasonably square roofline, it should be a good choice for dog owners. There's no built-in dog net behind the back seat as you'll find in the Allroad and BMW 3 Series wagon. You'd have to go the aftermarket route, but your full-legged buddy should at least appreciate the lower liftover/jumper board height. And actually, the TourX is lower than other wagons too. Not by that much in comparison to an Allroad or a Volkswagen Alltrack, but the Subaru Outback stands a whopping 7.7 inches taller. That's a huge difference, but here's the rub. That lower overall height is countered by the Regal's rather pathetic amount of extra ground clearance. Buick doesn't even publish the number, but it's negligible compared to the Regal Sportback and most likely less than the Allroad, which itself was lowered by 0.6 to a meager 6.5 inches when it was redesigned. By comparison, the Outback stands at a lofty 8.7 inches, a difference you can see demonstrated by how much of my hand fits between each wagon's wheel wells. For old school wagonites who don't need the sub pretenses, this should be good news, because the Regal TourX handles far better than the crossover norm. Yes, it has higher profile tires than the Regal Sportback, but like its sibling, it can still just as easily be described as planted, stable and almost Germanic in nature. The steering is pleasantly precise, consistent in its effort and just generally does its job without brilliance or foible. And then there's the torque vectoring all-wheel drive system, which sends power to the outside wheels to increase grip while cornering. In slippery conditions, it can also shunt as much as 10. That weight and power advantage translates into a key overall advantage for the Regal, especially compared to the Subaru. Acceleration is indeed strong, but the Regal never feels as energetic or inspiring as its power numbers suggest. Blame the doughy throttle response and the Asian-sourced, Japanese-built 8-speed automatic that's too slow to downshift from fuel economy-friendly upper gears. Perhaps a sport mode should be in order, but as it stands, at least the Regal TourX manages fuel economy of 24 miles per gallon combined. That's 1 miles per gallon less than the Audi and 2 better than the 6-cylinder Subaru. The base Outback gets 28 miles per gallon combined. For many, that could be a reason to stick with the car that started the whole off-roadish wagon trend in the first place. A lower fuel bill will be preferable to 295 lb-ft of torque. The Outback essentially matches the TourX's huge cargo capacity, boasts that greater ride height, and when comparably equipped, costs about $4,200 less. The comparably powered 3.6R is about $2,000 less. Of course, one could argue, and I'd agree, that the Regal is a far better looking steed than the homely Outback. That alone should earn the TourX customers who've liked the idea of a capacious wagon, but were loath to drive a plain Jane Subaru. The 2018 Buick Regal TourX delivers as a wagon. It handles better than the typical SUV, has loads of space for people and their stuff, and it's low enough to put whatever doesn't fit inside onto the roof. As an off-roadish wagon, though, it's a bit lame. And as a premium vehicle, it really isn't. In other words, the TourX is in essence quite good. It should just drop the pretenses.